trainer. Written Matters, an approach to Waldorf Pedagogy in cooperation with the traditional educational system by Oscar Villa Ramírez at Institución Educativa Santa Luisa de Marilla.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. Written Matters, an approach to Waldorf pedagogy in cooperation with the traditional educational system, basically emerges as a response to the needs of transforming educational practices in public institutions in Colombia. Many people may think that applying non-traditional strategies may not be possible, but this is exactly what I try to show you. Okay, talking about the context, we can talk about Colegio Santa Luisa de Marilla, which is a public institution in Villa Maria. It counts around 1,400 students, most of them girls. It used to be a girls' school at the beginning, but nowadays they're accepting boys, especially in lower grades. And the participants were selected from the 10th grade students, in which we could find some special needs, such as bipolar disorder, meal learning disorders, medical issues, and socio-economical issues. It is also good to mention that it was a 48 students classroom. It was pretty challenging, but at the end we got good results. Okay, just to justify, I brought a quotation from Dr. Rodolfo Linares, who's a Colombian scientist, and he stated in a conference that school teaches the location of rivers, but never explains the importance of water. We're a trunk full of knowledge, but completely out of context. Hence, our difficulty for applying knowledge in real life. And that's basically the reflection of what educational systems brought up nowadays. The official educational systems around the world answer political needs of the government's agenda. That's why they don't get to differentiate between education and instruction, and both are different concepts. Nowadays, our public institutions answer only to instructions, to standardized tests, not exactly to education. It implies all the different things. Okay, just to contrast only the distribution of classrooms, here we have in this picture, these are my 10th grade students, okay, at Colegio Santa Luisa de Marilla. Just to contrast, the picture on the left, it's a representation from the distribution of classrooms in the 19th century. As you can see, nothing has changed, okay? In a century, technology has improved a lot, but in terms of education, we're basically still in the last century. Something is wrong, okay? This is a Waldorf classroom. Distribution of spaces is not only different, but also the amount of students in every single classroom. We usually have up to 25 students in the classroom. Okay, to the diagnosis stage, we could divide this stage into 3 different ones, and the first one was basically a class observation stage, in which we could identify some particularities in the institution, such as the nature of the institution, the qualification of teachers, the facilities of the institution. The next stage was basically the pedagogical diaries, in which we registered the perception, personal aspects, the perception of some different aspects, such as behavioral strategies or behavioral aspects on students, and the way contents were administered by teachers. And then we got a first survey in which we could identify the resources available for English as a foreign language teaching, the interest of students, reading habits on students, and also English as a foreign language practices, such as the way students use their English out of the classrooms. Okay, as a general objective, we could establish to successfully apply Waldorf pedagogy strategies in a public institution in order to provide the students a different approach to English as a foreign language learning. As a specific objectives, we could apply to promote Waldorf pedagogy as a methodology to teach not only foreign languages, but also sciences and arts. To provide the students a different perspective of evaluation, to boost the speaking skills of students, and to promote a second foreign language teaching. That's basically what we tried to do. The intention was not to fight against the system, okay, but to cooperate. So, what's Waldorf pedagogy? Waldorf pedagogy emerged in 1919, right after the First World War. So European society was completely devastated, okay? So that man, okay, Rudolf Steiner, he proposed a different approach to education in which every single student, with no social distinction, no economical distinction, no sex distinction, could be accepted into those schools. Okay? That's basically a non-traditional system in which students don't have grades. Students don't wear uniforms. The students are not one form. Contents are provided in a different way. Okay? And changes in the institution are announced with ring bells, such as in factories. It still happens nowadays. Then why Waldorf pedagogy? Well, anthroposophy could be considered the basics of Waldorf pedagogy. And that's a holistic conception of humanity. We could establish that, okay, according to Waldorf pedagogy, the development of human beings turns into periods of 7 years. And within the first 2 periods of 7 years, we could observe that students from 10th grade are among 14 to 16 years old, okay? So they're still basically developing their bodies. Every single class, according to Waldorf pedagogy, has to include movement, okay? Why Waldorf pedagogy? Okay, Waldorf pedagogy proposes 2 foreign languages. In our case, we proposed a secondary French lesson. Students involved volunteering in that lesson. I have to admit, okay, that most of them were interested. Waldorf in education. Okay, Waldorf lessons are given within a rhythm and instruction stages. That's exactly what I tried to show you right after. To the action stage, we could develop the Waldorf pedagogy, okay, the Waldorf language workshops. And at first, we got the rhythm stage. In the rhythm stage, according to this picture, as you can see, we could establish that movement part of the class. So we would go out the classroom, we made some movements, we repeated verses, poems, songs, in order to adapt or to let students concentrate on the concepts that are going to be given. Okay? To the phenomena observation, in that case, I asked the students to measure the area of the basketball court. Of course, they didn't know how to do that, all right? That's why I provided them with caojas, okay, with a certain length, and they could manage, okay, to measure all the basketball court. To the instruction stage, we went back to the classroom and we provided students with formula so they could calculate the area of the basketball court. Finally, to the presentation of the project, we could calculate the whole area of the school. It was pretty challenging. Proportions are not that accurate, but formula was applied accurately. Okay? So the students learned not only vocabulary, but also managed to practice English. 70 to 90% of those contents were provided in English. Again, talking about Waldorf language workshops, we could apply workshops for mathematics, geometry, physics, biology, chemistry, geography, history, and art. The students preferred physics and mathematics, and of course the rhythm of class. To the evaluation stage, we could establish that in the first survey that was applied in March, only 30% of students could identify that 100% English given class could be a good way to improve their speaking skills. In contrast, in the last survey that was applied in June, 80% of students considered that 100% given class, okay, English given class, could help students to develop not only speaking skills, okay, but also vocabulary and to adapt contents to new cross-curriculum strategies. According to French lessons, okay, 90% of students stated that learning 2 languages at the same time, in our case French and English, didn't